Hey you guys, today we're going to be looking at Final Form, but first I want to introduce Soraalam1 who will be helping you with this breakdown.
Yo, what's up guys? It's Soraalam1 and I am thrilled to be joining Bio-Roxas for this Kingdom Hearts 2 form breakdown.
Without further ado, let's jump right into the breakdown. This is the final drive form you receive in Kingdom Hearts 2 and is triggered a little differently than the other drive forms. Much like the other ones, it is received after reaching a certain point in the story. Though Final Form is not able to be chosen in the drive menu until you randomly trigger it while trying to go into another drive form. The final mixed version of the game made it a little bit easier to trigger Final Form by giving you a Keyblade after fighting Roxas, which either triggers Anti-Form or Final Form when going into any drive form. Anyways, this changes Sora's clothes white, and these swirly symbols appear on his pants and sleeves. I've looked into this, and the only thing I've been able to find is that the summon symbol on the HUD has a little bit of the same aesthetic. I've lined it up with Final Form Xemnas, and it looks a little similar, but none of the symbols line up perfectly. While in the Timeless River world, the HUD changes to a lighter shade. His circuits in Tron's world change from blue to white, and while in his Halloween Town form, so his pumpkin changes to his iconic crown symbol. While in Christmas Town, the symbol on his hat changes to one of the symbols on his sleeve in base form, and wings adorn his back.
Sora floats just above the ground while in this form, and two orbs of light circle him, fading in and out. His body itself also pulses with a white light. Probably the most eye-catching detail in this form though is the Keyblade spinning behind Sora. While idle, they will stay crossed behind his back, twisting in the air. In other forms, we have seen Sora briefly use telekinesis during attacks, but with Final Form, he's almost exclusively using telekinesis to control these Keyblades. While moving, the Keyblades will open up behind him, which looks like wings. While jumping, Sora raises his hand and guides the Keyblades under him as he jumps upwards. The Keyblades lock together and spin up with him as he flips upwards and crosses his arms. Sora uncrosses his arms at the height of his jump, causing the Keyblades to break apart and spin around him. As he begins to descend, Sora pulls the Keyblades towards his hands, catching them before he throws them downwards. This causes them to circle below Sora and back to their place behind his back, although they stick outwards like wings during his fall rather than the usual position they're in. Sora also keeps his arms crossed after he throws the Keyblades to his back. When he lands, he spins once as the Keyblades circle around him and back to their original position, twisting behind his back. If you cut the jump short, Sora will skip ahead in the animation to where he catches the Keyblades and throws them to his back. This actually happens whenever you are dropping to the ground. When gliding, Sora spins both Keyblades in front of himself. His idle glide animation has the blades moving in sync in front of Sora twice with very straight lines before they spin in front of Sora for a bit before doing another two slices in sync. If you grab onto a ledge, the Keyblades will go back to their normal cross positions behind Sora's back, though when you jump up, they will slice outwards, damaging enemies who are close enough. At the end of the attack, Sora will catch them and throw them to his back, much like he does when he's descending from a jump.
Let's talk about the abilities associated with Final Form. The first three abilities are combo finishers. Final Arcana is a combo finisher that will trigger if you are close to the ground and only attacking a single enemy. Final Strike will trigger if you are in the air while attacking a single enemy. Final Arts will trigger if you are surrounded by enemies regardless of if you are on the ground or in the air. Auto Assault is an ability that makes the Keyblades do damage while performing actions. So far I've seen this trigger while casting magic, jumping, gliding, climbing up a ledge, or using an item. Crime and Punishment powers up your magic attacks, and Mobile Action is an ability we saw with Wisdom Form, which lets you use magic and items while moving. The growth ability associated with Final Form is Glide. There are only two support abilities that come equipped with Final Form: Sync Blade and Magic Haste, which don't really need an explanation since we've already talked about these abilities before. Let's move on to the combat for Final Form. When close to the ground, Sora will start the combo by making his Keyblade spin around himself in different directions, slicing at enemies in diagonal slashes. You can see Sora spinning and moving his arms as he controls the Keyblades. The second attack Sora does has Sora positioning the Keyblades near his hands as he slashes with them. He slashes downwards diagonally with his right hand before doing a similar slash with his left hand. He used the momentum from the second slash to do a spin in the air, bringing both Keyblades back behind himself. Sora then thrusts both hands forward, causing the Keyblades to do 5 quick strikes in front of himself. These leave behind slashes of light. These attacks change in order depending on if you are attacking a single enemy or multiple enemies. The attack with the quick thrust will trigger first if you are only attacking one person, and the slashing attack will trigger first if you are attacking multiple enemies. Also, with the thrusting attack, it seems to bug out as the Keyblade in his left hand almost always gets caught on the ground instead of following Sora's hand. The first combo finisher will perform if you are attacking a single enemy. Sora lifts his left hand into the air, summoning both Keyblades to his hand. The Keyblades face away from each other, but the handles overlap each other. He holds the Keyblades together as he spins around before throwing it forward. This spins in a Saw Blade-esque attack with yellow and blue light spinning outwards. After spinning a couple times, the Keyblades break apart and smash together 3 times, creating sparks and lightning when they hit. The first part of this attack actually triggers during the Roxas fight if you take his Keyblades from him and do a sliding dash. The second combo finisher triggers if you are surrounded by enemies. Sora's hands glow a whitish blue as his Keyblades and light spin out around him. The light spiraling out disappears and the Keyblades move upside down with the blades facing the ground. Sora spins and moves towards one of the Keyblades before kicking off of it towards the other Keyblade. A light effect follows him as he dashes around, and 2 more light effects follow the initial light after the dash. He does 5 dashes before landing on his Keyblade and jumping off of it. You can actually see the Keyblade turned over to be a flat surface for Sora to jump off of. Sora does a backflip off the Keyblade and spins downwards.
The air combo starts with Sora sideways and twisting in the air, spinning the Keyblades around himself. Rays of light spin around Sora during this attack as well. The next attack has Sora doing the same kind of spinning attack, but is spinning upright instead of sideways. He also keeps the Keyblades pretty close together in this attack as opposed to the first one. After the spinning slashes, Sora slices with his right hand, followed closely by his left hand. During the slice with his left hand, he slashes back the other way with his right hand. At the end of these attacks, Sora ends up with his arms crossed and his Keyblades behind himself. He then pulls the Keyblades up in a crossing slash attack that has rays of light accompanying them. The first combo finisher in the air is triggered if you are attacking a single enemy. Sora links the Keyblades together by their handles with blades facing away from each other and spins them in his hand as he dashes forwards. Rays of light circle the outside of the spinning blades. Sora then kicks horizontally, breaking the Keyblades apart. The Keyblades move to the sides of Sora and face downwards, moving up and down, pushing out blasts of light on either side. During these blasts, the Keyblades circle around Sora. Sora then flips backwards and the Keyblades move to his feet and then move outwards beside him as he spins. Rays of light circle Sora as well during this attack. By the end of his flips, the Keyblades are positioned around Sora's head and begin spinning around him as he dives downward. During this downward thrust, light spins around Sora. The other combo finisher is the same one that can be triggered near the ground. The only other thing I want to talk about in regards to combat is that you can trigger the second combo finisher halfway through the first combo finisher. So with this Saw combo finisher attack, you can trigger the dashing finisher before he breaks the Keyblades apart and smashes them together. With the light blast finisher in the air, you can trigger the dashing finisher before you start the spinning and diving part of the finisher.
Let's move on to the magic for Final Form. Fire has Sora summoning multiple casts of fire that spin around him. There are 3 pairs of fire that circle Sora, and both Keyblades have fire coming off of them as well. The animation for this attack has Sora flipping backwards as he clasps his hands together. As he comes out of the flip, he raises his hands above his head. The magic finisher has the 3 sets of fire that spin around Sora, but orbs of fire appear around him as well, and the Keyblades spread out farther to spin around. Sora's animation during this cast has him flipping forwards before spinning around, twisting his legs outwards. At the end, he pushes himself up and lands back in his idle position. Blizzard brings both Keyblades up beside Sora, shooting out 2 casts of Blizzard. Sora's animation has him raising an arm and spinning as the magic is cast. The magic finisher has Sora shooting out staggered shots of Blizzard before shooting out another double cast of Blizzard. Sora's animation has him spinning and kicking a leg out as his Keyblades circle him. He then flips upside down during the double shot. The shots of Blizzard cause the Keyblades to spin backwards after the cast. Thunder spawns 3 bolts of lightning to come down. The Keyblades are crossed during this and twist in the air during the cast. Sora does a roll across the ground during this cast as well. The magic finisher has Sora calling down 8 bolts of lightning. The animation has Sora spinning around and pulling his Keyblades upwards by raising his hands. The Keyblades twist around each other during the cast. At the end of the cast, Sora pulls them apart and sends them back to their normal position. Reflect does not change really except that the Keyblades circle around during the cast. Also, Sora does the same animation during Reflect as he does when casting fire. During the magic finisher cast, Sora does the same breakdance animation as the fire finisher and the Keyblades move out farther. Magnet is much shorter in duration when cast in final form and does a lot of damage during the cast as well. It shoots enemies towards you at the end of the cast if you are not directly under them. If you are under the cast, it will push enemies away from you. The animation is the same as the thunder finisher with the Keyblades twisting around above Sora. Cure has his Keyblades spin around him during the cast. This is also the same animation as the regular fire cast. Aerial casts of magic cannot be chained into combos, but you can fire off casts of magic incredibly fast while in the air. Let's talk about the strategy for Final Form now. Honestly, you can do pretty much whatever you want in this form. Even just jumping around and gliding can kill enemies easily. The attacks and magic are equally good and can be chained together pretty easily. It is also helpful that everything Sword does can damage enemies, be that jumping, using an item, or gliding, everything can do damage. Obviously, I love this form, but I feel like even with Oathkeeper and abilities to slow down the drive gauge, I never had enough time in the form. That, coupled with it costing 5 gauges, always made me hesitant to use it before I maxed the level. Other than that issue I had with it, I think the attacks and magic are so smooth, and I always loved how the keyblades hung in the air instead of Sora holding onto them.
In terms of strategy, for me, I think the big thing is just being really active and moving with the form. It has parry frames on tons of movements as you jump and glide around, and every single spell gives you lots of mobility and gigantic AoE potential. I generally try to jump to bring enemies up and then combo them with air combos more because the blades surrounding you provide really good protection during physical attacks. If you are fighting a humanoid boss with revenge value, you can use Firaga while in this form to do lots of damage while keeping them stunned. Just don't use the magic finishers and keep resetting the combo to keep the loop. Personally, this form is my favorite. For me, winning is only half the battle, which of course this form is amazing at, but the other half is styling on the enemy while you're destroying them, and of course this is the form where Sora appears to effortlessly outclass his enemy. He's so good he doesn't even need to physically hold his keyblades. It's a very divine feeling with mastery written all over it, and for that I cannot get enough of final form.
Again, thank you so much for helping out with this breakdown, Soraalam1. If you guys have not watched his content yet, I will have a link in the description to his channel and also probably pinned in the comments. He does everything from Let's Plays to reviews to analyses like this one, so be sure to check him out. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. A huge shout out to Mr. Matthews. He's the one that made the opening animation and also the transitions. He puts a ton of work into this channel, and I appreciate him helping the content look so clean and polished. He does take commission work, so if you want to, please send him a message on Discord. I'll put the tag right here on screen and also a tag in the description. It helps him out a ton. Anyways, I'm pretty active on Twitch, YouTube, Discord, and Twitter, so be sure to follow the links in the description below to stay updated.
And as for me, I stream a lot on Twitch, do some crazy in-depth analysis on my own of the trailers, and just generally cover Kingdom Hearts all around, mostly long-form videos, so feel free to come check out my stuff if you ever have the time. I also just really want to thank Bio-Roxas for having me on the forum breakdowns. I've been enjoying these from a distance, and it's really exciting for me to get to be on one since I enjoy making gameplay videos so much on my own already.
See you guys in the next series.